Okay, guys, we are going to get started here. Good evening to everyone. And hope you guys have the chat going, the chat up and going. And I'm going to switch over here. That's Frank in the woods, by the way.
Yes, it is.
And that's. Did you do a soda on that, or you were just going hiking, right?
That was just hiking. And I had my Anytone HT with me, and since it was myself, I had it tuned to the national park frequencies because you don't want to hike alone. But since I was hiking alone, majority of the national park frequencies are still analog and should be kept that way.
Yes,
because
agreed.
They're on 2 meter. Majority of them are on 2 meter, and there are some centimeter.
Well, that doesn't matter if it's 2 meter or 70 centimeter.
But it's just easy for hams, though. I get a 2 meter radio, and the national park frequencies are close enough to the bands where we can transmit on the majority of the radios.
Okay, yeah. I thought you, the way you said it, it was like, since it's on 2 meter, we shouldn't go digital. And I'm like,
no.
Okay,
I don't want them to go digital.
I don't want them to go digital either, but it's not because they're on 2 meters.
No. It's just the ease of a lot of hams can go out and utilize those frequencies in the in case they need them. And they're just conveniently close to the ham bands.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, good. Well, hey guys, good evening. Ham Radio 2.0. This is our twice a month live stream. First Sunday, third Sunday of the month. We've been doing that really consistently throughout.
Yes, we have.
Throughout since January of 2020, and I want to expand it. I really want to go every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
But I don't want to go. I don't want to commit to going every Sunday.
No, it's nice to have a Sunday off.
It's nice to have a Sunday off. The YouTubers bunch, we meet the last Sunday of every month to do our monthly recording, where we usually record. Usually 2. This last time we only did 1. It was a little bit longer than what we do. But we usually meet the last Sunday of the month around 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll sit down for a couple hours or so. So it might interfere with that. Although if I'm doing it at 7 o'clock, it would just be a full day of being in front of the camera, which is not a bad thing.
Well, you'll enjoy it.
I would enjoy it, yeah.
I don't know if Emily would.
I have to clear that one with the wife. I think, yeah.
She'll be beating down the door.
Yeah.
Jason.
Michael VK6MMB Victor Kilo 6 call sign. He says it's Monday here.
It's Monday.
He's in Australia. Victor Kilo 6 is an Australian call sign. So. Send me the lottery numbers.
Yes.
Because I want to know what the lottery numbers are tomorrow, so I can buy a lottery ticket tomorrow.
All this.
Yeah.
And pay Frank.
So, yeah. Right.
Smoking Ape says first, but he is not.
Right. Yeah, that's
a little late.
That's an ongoing joke.
I know.
It's an ongoing joke. So
I've also seen in the chat KF0OU. Thank you for joining us today.
Good.
Mark KB0MXE from Eastern Kansas.
Okay.
And Randy KK4SRO.
Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining. Ape, thanks for joining as well. And we're going to talk about writing a DMR Codeplug tonight.
DMR Codeplug.
DMR Codeplug. We're going to take this Anytone radio.
Isn't that the thing a lot of people shy away from DMR just because it's considered to be very hard and complicated?
That's the thing that scares people away. That's one of the things that scares people away. Yes. Yeah, that's very true.
We're going to show how easy.
We're going to show.
Even I can do it.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, you wouldn't have any problems with it.
Hey, Jason, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I am drinking a Turning Point beer. We put the I in team.
Is that the beer's name?
That's the beer's name. We put the I in team.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what that's from?
Well, like everything, there's no I in team, but
I know, but it's like a reference to something.
Caddyshack or
no, I don't think it's Caddy. They've done a lot of Rick and Morty references, but I don't think this is Rick and Morty, but I don't know. I've only watched Rick and Morty like 3 times.
Oh, come on.
We put the I in team, but it is an imperial stout with vanilla beans.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it is good. It's very good. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Twisted Twisted Spike? Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, it took me a second there. These guys are located up in Oklahoma City. The last time I was up there, I grabbed a bunch of beer from them. This is 2 Bean or Not 2 Bean.
Oh.
It is a chocolate coffee flavored one.
Nice.
So.
Okay, then. Twisted
Very good,
Spike in
guys.
Oklahoma.
If they're open, go pick up some beer. We need
For
to
sure.
support all our local breweries,
For sure.
especially right now.
Yeah. John Mickler's in the house, K3NXU. Thanks for joining us tonight, John. He's got, if you Google real quick, Miklor.com, MIKLOR.com, and you can put that link in the chat. You guys who have never seen John Mickler's site, he does a lot of radio reviews, and it's like a blog type thing. He's got links to, that's it. He's got links to download software, links to radio reviews. It's all written out. It's not video, but it's like a written form, kind of like a blog, but not really. And really, really great information on that site there. So if you've ever got questions about where to download stuff, he's got a lot of download links and stuff like that as well. So really appreciate John being out there. So Ape approves. Yeah. Ape would approve. Ape's actually a big DMR dude.
He is.
So,
wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, it's the only reason I tolerate his Miller Lite drinking, because he's a DMR brother. So, anyway. So a couple of announcements real quick. First of all, next weekend, I'm going to switch screens here, is the QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo. I know you guys have heard about this from a couple of different places. I did an interview with Eric Guth, the gentleman who runs the QSO Today audio podcast. He came onto the show 2 or 3 weeks ago and talked about the Virtual Ham Expo, showed us some screenshots, what it's going to look like, what it's about. They've got a lot of really good sponsors like ICOM and RFinder and Kenwood and Rig Expert and several others. At the last time, I've been trading emails with him back and forth, and he's been keeping me pretty updated on everything that's going on. But last I heard, they had about 18,500 people registered to attend the conference. Registration is free. You can go to QSO Today, hamexpo.com. Frank has a link for that here. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, cool.
I'm on the ball.
On the ball. So QSO Today, hamexpo.com. You can. I don't think it's too late to register. You've still got a whole week. They are going to start with like a keynote speaker, and Expo opens on Friday night around. Around 8:45 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. And then most of the speakers and sessions begin around 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is 8 a.m. Pacific time. They did that on purpose so that it wouldn't be too early for the folks out in California. Saturday morning on August 8th. So QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo. The YouTubers Bunch does have a booth there. We will be in and out, myself, I think Josh and Kyle, and maybe a couple other guys. I don't know who all is going to be in attendance quite yet, but we will have a booth there to just kind of, chat with people and talk about YouTube and ham radio.
Can you explain what are y'all doing in this virtual booth?
It was the Ham Expo is really for radio reviews and to connect with vendors and do stuff like that, because we haven't had a ham fest realistically since February in Orlando. When we were all in Orlando in February,
that was the last big one. That was the last major one,
right?
And we were there.
Correct, and we were there. So we have. I don't think I've been to a. Well, no, that's not true. We went to Belton in March. I went to Belton in March. But Belton's a really small regional show. So the last real good-sized ham fest we had was in Orlando in February. Looking forward to it again next year. Hopefully it's going to be a blast next year. Hopefully some of this restriction crap is lifted by then. But we just, they gave us a booth because we did some PR stuff for them. Mm-hmm. But we're YouTubers Bunch, we don't sell anything. We just talk about ham radio on our channels.
Well, you're all are good for promoting.
Correct. Yeah.
Ham radio, and help some of the new people in the ham radio get into it, and help them set up the radios. What's the first thing we do when we don't know anything? Let's go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube. Yeah. That's exactly what it's about. So, Anyway, QSO today, hamexpo.com is the website. You can still register. And like I said, this was probably Wednesday or Thursday of last week. He told me that they had surpassed 18,500 registrations. I'm sure it's higher than that now. I don't know if he's broken 20,000 yet, but it's probably getting there, if not. So, excuse me. So we're going to jump right into it today. And after that small announcement, and I am going
That's a fun announcement.
It is.
It's going to be fun.
It is a fun announcement. So let's see. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to. That's probably.
While you get yourself situated,
go ahead
real fast. Christopher, welcome to the chat from Minnesota, K0BLU.
Yes.
I wonder if that's why blue. Why so blue?
I don't know.
Welcome. And we also got W2JTB. Mr. Cool. Bell, welcome to the chat.
Cool. Thank you for joining us today. So we're going to talk about the Anytone. Now, let me preface this and say that the code plug I'm going to build today, in fact, let me go to this screen instead. The code plug I'm going to build today is going to be somewhat universal. Okay, and I'm going to do it on the Anytone. But it'll work on the TYT and a couple of Baofeng radios and the BTEC 6x2 DMR radio. And thanks to that fact, all goes to Tom, N0GSG. Now, if you go to N0GSG.com/contact-manager, which Frank will put in the chat in a second, you can download the N0GSG DMR Contact Manager for free. He does have 3 different support options along the right side over here. You can donate $5, $10, or $15. Back when I started using his software 2 to 3 years ago, I did donate to him. I donated $10 to him. I should probably do that again because I get a lot of use out of his software. He keeps up with his software. He updates it every month or 2, something like that. It's not like a regularly updated schedule. But you can see right here at the text at the very top, it was last updated July 1st, which was right at a month ago. And he added, it's now on version 2.66 Echo, and it's now supporting the Connect Systems CS800D Type 3. I don't know what the Type 3 radio is for the CS800D. If anyone knows that, put it in the comments below, or put it in the chat, rather, because I'm not sure what the Type 3 radio... The CS800 Delta is their dual-band 40-watt mobile rig, DMR mobile rig that they've had out for a couple of years now, but I don't know what the Type 3 is. But he added the Type 3, and he added the Retevis RT84. The Retevis RT84 is a it's a newer style radio. It's very similar to the Baofeng DM1701, and I did a review on that channel several months ago. You can just search for Retevis RT84. You can find it. It's not a bad radio. It's on the lower end of what I would call good radios. But if you run across one and get someone, somebody gives you one, or you find a decent price on one, or you just like the look of it for whatever reason, it's now supported by N0GSG, and that gives it a thumbs up in my book. So,
well, even though we're doing an Anytone radio here, is it still kind of the same type of setup and entering the information is for another radio, another DMR radio?
Yes. Yeah, because basically a DMR code plug can... Okay, so this is going to be very intro level, okay? And the code plug I'm going to build tonight is going to be very intro level, okay? So a code plug... Anybody who's ever used Chirp or RT Systems programming software for your analog radios, when you open up Chirp and you put in all the information and you go to File, Save As, and you save the file on your computer, that file on your computer is a code plug. That's all a code plug is. Okay, so you can do a code plug for an analog radio. There's a lot of different Baofengs and ICOMs and Kenwoods that are supported by Chirp. RT Systems probably even has a wider array of different radios. You can get RT Systems programming for ICOM IC7000s and 7100s, and probably the 7300. I've never looked for the 7300 though. But it's not unusual. I lost my train of thought.
I don't know where you're going there.
It's not unusual to have a code plug for an analog radio. A code plug is just a computer file. That's all it is.
And then to even more simplify it, if you're used to working with Excel,
yes,
just entering data and getting it in the right cell, and maybe double-clicking to pull up more information about a particular cell, that's all it is. It's
Correct.
It's a fancy word. Don't run away screaming you don't know how to do a code plug, because we all done Excel spreadsheets, and we hated them. But still, it's very easy to do. Even I could figure it out.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse for not trying to figure this out.
So a code plug, so a DMR code plug takes all that information that you would put into a regular analog radio, which is transmit and receive frequency, which if you're on simplex, those are going to be the same frequency. If you're on a repeater, they're going to be an offset frequency, plus or minus 600 kilohertz for 2 meters, plus or minus 5 megahertz for 440. It takes the frequency, the color code, which is the same thing as a digital PL tone, basically, and it takes a time slot and talk group, and it puts it all in a nice package, and it shoots the information into your radio so that you can use your radio to talk on a repeater and or a hotspot. We are going to do... I'm going to have a zone program tonight for a hotspot. Okay, so N0GSG Contact Manager allows you to take a code plug from one radio and import it or transfer it to another radio. Okay, so I'm going to use the Anytone tonight because I get asked this question a lot too. What's your current favorite DMR HT? This one. Anytone D878 Plus. The Plus model has APRS and Bluetooth. The non-Plus model has APRS only, I think.
The APRS will only go over digital side of the radio. Only over
well, no,
data.
that's not true. It'll go over analog. It either transmits and doesn't receive or receives and doesn't transmit. It's not fully capable.
Yeah.
I forget which one it is.
It's not fully capable.
It's not fully capable.
That one's fully integrated, and you can get it to working on the analog side. And
yes.
Have you actually used the Bluetooth on that radio?
I have.
And what is it? Is it a Bluetooth headset? Is it just a button? Because I know it comes with a button.
It comes with a button. Well, it depends on where you buy it from. Sometimes they come with a button. You can use a headset. There's a microphone. It's a Bluetooth microphone that's USB chargeable. There's a button that has a strap around your finger you can use to push to talk.
Okay.
You can use it with a Plantronics type headset. You can Bluetooth it to your car and listen to it through your car stereo.
But will it pick up your car mic if you do it through your car? If you have like Vox,
if you have some sort of push to talk enabled, then yes.
Okay.
But yes, if you have a push to talk enabled, then yes, it will pick up your Bluetooth. If your car stereo has a microphone connected to it, which mine does, for like a hands-free type thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll do that.
Cool.
So
that's very cool.
So somebody asked in the chat I'm sorry. Do you guys like the GD77? The GD77 is okay. It's on the lower end of radios that I would suggest. Again, if you get somebody that gives you one, great. There are better radios out there to be had, but the GD77 is decent for what it is. Michael asks, is it not referring to Moto Turbo Type 3 on the Connect System CS800D? I don't think so, because Tier 3 in DMR just means trunking, and the Connect System CS800D, the dual band version, is an amateur radio, not a trunking radio. So I don't think that's what it is. But I'm going to shoot Jerry at Connect Systems an email tomorrow and ask him exactly what that Type 3 is. So I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's Moto Turbo Tier 3. Eco Live says the BTEX 6x2 has very similar CPS. The Anytone 868 or 878 can now be loaded in the 6x8 without modification. Yes. So the Anytone 868, the BTEX 6x2, and really the Elenco MDG5P or whatever it is, which I've got one up there. I should have grabbed it. Same radio internally, basically. There's small differences in between them, but they're basically the same radio, and a lot of times you can interchange code plugs. So my wife is in the chat, says spreadsheets are life.
Yep.
She uses spreadsheets quite a bit at her job. So, Philip says, I have the Elenco DMR, no contact yet. Well, use what we're going to show you here in a minute and hopefully that'll get you going with
Why is the contacts important for DMR radios? Why can't I just go in there and put in the repeater information and key up and be...
Okay, so on a DMR system, it's separated by talk groups.
Okay.
Very similar to how D-Star is separated by reflectors, and Yaesu System Fusion is separated by reflectors and/or Wires X rooms. So it depends on where you want to talk.
I was going with why do we need to use Contact Manager?
Oh, well, you don't have to use Contact Manager. It just makes it easier, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute. If you've got a code plug from another radio, if you've got multiple DMR radios, I've only got about 27 DMR radios. So it's nice to be able to transfer code plugs in between each one so that I don't have to write a new code plug for each one. So the Contact Manager, we're going to get to that. I'm going to show you the things that I like about the Contact Manager. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So you guys feel free to put your comments your comments and or questions in the chat. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind. And it tells that does help with the YouTube algorithm. So we're going to go down here. And I'm going to say... Oh, well, let me also say, I went to Bridgecom's website earlier. Nope, that's not it. You can actually download a code plug from Bridgecom's website. But I went out there and I looked for the latest CPS version. And it is firmware 1.18 for the 878 UV, which is what this radio is. I'm actually running 1.19, running a newer version.
How'd you get that?
I have contact. Well, 1.19 is production now. Bridgecom just hadn't updated their website yet.
Okay.
So you can find 1.19 out there. If you can't find it, shoot me an email. I'll send it to you. But it's production. It's production. The current production version is 1.19 for the 878 UV. So we're going to go here. All right, so let me first say that I'm going to go ahead and plug this in.
John,
go ahead.
K3NXU.
Yeah, that's John Micklor.
Thank you for joining us today. I had a couple of these saved up. So
okay.
Craig,
yeah,
also joining us, N0GSG.
Okay, good. Thank you
for joining us. And I'm also looking for questions from the chat. And if Jason doesn't snipe them real fast from me, I will go ahead and lace them in there throughout the show tonight. So
somebody said 1.19 is on their website. Look at the top. So, okay, so here's what it is. 1.18 is in big, huge green letters, and 1.19 is in small, itty-bitty black letters.
Well, that's not right.
Yeah. So no wonder I thought that 1.18 was what the latest one they had. But
it doesn't even look like a link until you mouse over it.
I know, until you mouse over it. Okay,
on,
so it's there. It's there. Go get it. That's not where I got it from. I've got a source that sends them to me. And I've had it for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But, well, maybe I don't remember. But anyway, well, okay, so 1.19 is there. It's hard to see. It's not in big green bold letters like it should be, but it is there. So, okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read from my radio. I'm going to click here. I just plugged my radio in via USB, okay? I'm going to go here. I'm going to read other data. We are going to load contacts, private ID contacts. There's 169,204 contacts in the radio ID database as of today. I looked about 3 hours ago. That database updates once a day, once every 24 hours. So 169,204 is the current number. So now I've got all of this stuff in here. Radio ID list. Here's my ID. Here are my talk groups right here. All these talk groups in here. I'm going to scroll down. Yep, just like that. And actually, yeah, there we go. So I'm connected to a second computer via Chrome Remote Desktop right now. So if the screen looks weird, that's why. Yeah, put your questions in the chat. Frank will make a note of them. If you need to stop me, feel free.
You're fine. You're fine.
Okay, so I got my channels here. These are all my channels. I got my zone here. This is the stuff that I had in my radio so far. We're not going to start with this. We're going to start from scratch. Okay, this is a start from scratch and build your way up there. What I do, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just save this because I'm like, okay, before you ever make any changes, unless you've if you've bought a brand new radio and you took it out of the box and you don't have anything on it yet, then you can follow the steps we're going to do tonight. That's the goal we're going to do tonight. Is we're going to take a brand new radio, which this radio is not brand new. I've had it for over a year, but we're going to act like we have a brand new radio, and we're going to build a brand new code plug for it. If you have any type of information in your radio at all, I highly suggest plug it in your computer, do a read, and do a save as first, so that if you screw something up later on, you can always go back to what you have right now. Okay? In fact, every time you make a change to a code plug, I do a save as, and I save it with today's date. So if I made a change yesterday, it has yesterday's date. If I made a change a month and a half ago, it has that date. So if I screw something up today, I'm like, well, crap, I screwed that up. Well, I've got my backup from yesterday, so I just load the one from yesterday and keep going. So you can never save too many code plugs. They're like not even kilobytes. They're like bytes of information. They're tiny. Mm-hmm. Okay? So it's not I highly suggest that you always save a code plug, okay? So you go File, Save As, and save it as whatever you want. Now, in order for the N0GSG Contact Manager to read an Anytone code plug, you can't do a Save As. You have to do something special. Okay, so I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to create a brand new code plug. It says all data will be lost. That's fine. This is like we are starting from scratch. Okay? So I've got a brand new code plug. I've read the radio, pulled everything out of it. There's nothing in it because it's brand new in the box. We just opened it. I got a tool, export data conversion file. Okay? And I export this file to, I'm going to call it LS1, Livestream 1. Okay? To a data conversion file, a .dcf file. Okay? File complete. We're going to minimize that. Let me change this view here. There we go. There. And I'm going to go... and I downloaded and installed the latest version of N0GSG earlier today, so I don't have to go through those steps again. So here's that. Now, what I have done prior to all of this... Let me make sure I'm following my... Oh, yeah, I forgot that. That's okay. Download CPS boot. Yeah, okay.
He has notes today.
So what I... Yeah.
He is very prepared.
All right. Yeah, thanks for whoever just subscribed. Thank you. That's what that noise was. So what I have done prior to all of this, okay, is I've taken a blank code plug just like you saw me do, and I have gone in and I've created templates. Okay, so I'm going to go to Open Code Plug in the N0GSG, and I'm going to come down here to a folder that I have called Templates. And I'm going to load a template that I have that I called Anytone Talk Groups, which is a data conversion file export.
You're cheating. This is not from scratch. You're using a template.
Right, but the template was from scratch.
Okay.
Okay, so all because right. it would take like 6 hours to do all of this.
Well, for that many.
Okay.
Stations,
so I have, yeah. So I have, so you can do this too. So I have this template here that has every talk group in it that I care to use right now. Now, I can go through and add talk groups to it anytime I want to. These are all talk groups. These are group calls. Okay, there's two different types of contacts in DMR. There's a group call and there's a private call. There's also this thing called all call that we don't really use that much anymore in amateur radio. We're not going to talk about all call today. So this is a list of talk groups that I have, that I've built over time. And if you want this list, I'll send it to you. Okay. In fact, I'm thinking about putting up like on my website or something, I'm thinking about putting up a link of, my template for this, my template for this, my template for this.
It'd be great for the Texas DMR website.
Well, and I thought about putting it on there. So here are all my templates. I wonder if I can zoom in on that. No, I can't. Oh, wait a minute. What if I do extra large icons? Okay, yeah, you can't see the text any better, though. So what I've done with this list here is I have created a template for every repeater that I want to have. I created a first template with all the talk groups. I just talk group number 1, worldwide. Talk group number 2, local. Talk group number 3, North America. Talk group number 9, repeater only. Talk group number 10, repeater only. And I know these numbers because I've been doing DMR for so long, and we'll go through some of those today. But if you look at this right here, these are all the talk groups that I've created, and starting at about 3100, which is the it used to be called the DCI bridge. Now it's really kind of called the 3100 bridge, or various things like that. You can call it whatever you want to. Starting at 3100 and going all the way to about 3156 are all of the statewide talk groups in the United States. Okay, so I've got all those in there. I've got all these other talk groups in there that I might want to use someday. Okay, so what that does is that puts all your talk groups into your code plug so that your code plug is expandable later on. Mm-hmm. Say, well, I don't use that talk group today. That's okay. Are you sure you're never going to use it? Because then later on you can, if you move, somebody puts up a new repeater, you take a trip somewhere, and you're like, oh, that repeater in that location where I'm going has talk group this, this, and this. I'd never programmed those before. Oh, guess what? They're already in my code plug. Because every statewide talk group is in my code plug. And a bunch of Brandmeister talk groups are in my code plug. And a bunch of TGIF talk groups are in my code plug. Okay, so I've got all these talk groups in my code plug that maybe I don't use about half of them, but I've got them there so that my code plug is future-proof, and I can add to it anytime I want to.
What does DCI stand for?
DCI used to be an old, so most people are familiar with DMR Mark. DMR Mark was the first C bridge to ever come online for amateur radio in the United States. DCI Turbo was one of the second or third, one of the first ones. I don't remember exactly where they were. DCI Turbo was another C bridge that came online, and they created a talk group called the DCI Bridge, which bridged the DMR Mark talk group, DMR Mark network to the DCI Turbo network. And they had that talk group 3100 where they could bridge back and forth so that people on a repeater connected to either network. This was way before Brandmeister ever happened, way before TGIF. Okay, this was back when C bridges were the only game in town. We did an entire live stream talking about the differences between C bridges and Brandmeister. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that today. You can go back and watch that live stream. I might do an updated live stream to it later, but that's not what we're talking about today. So,
the question was from Craig, by the way.
Okay, yeah. They used to call it DCI Turbo, DCI Bridge, and then when Brandmeister came along, they started using that talk group 3100 as they called it nationwide or USA. I think they call it USA or something like that. And now that talk group is tied between all of the networks: DMR Mark, DCI Turbo, which doesn't really exist anymore, DMRX, Brandmeister, and a lot of the different C bridges who have 3100. That talk group's tied between all the networks. That's not true for every talk group all the time, but it is true for 3100. So it makes it easier to connect whether you're on a hotspot or repeater or whatever. So, okay, Paul is asking, how do you update the DMR radio to show call signs versus DMR IDs? That's the last thing we're going to do today, because that's the step that takes the longest, but we're going to get to that.
Sorry, I was trying to find that C-Bridge video to post, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay, that's fine. All right, so I've got all of these talk groups in here, and I've saved, and you can go through and you can right-click and you can go add contact, and you choose group call from the drop-down here, and you choose the number, let's say 3148, and I can say Texas statewide. Now, this one's already in here, so if I click apply, it's going to tell me that ID already exists. So I'm not going to add it there. But you can add talk groups like that. You just right-click anywhere, add contact, add a group call, add the number, call it whatever you want to call it. The name is irrelevant. The name only matters to you. And then you can build this list, which right now my list has 150 different talk groups, from talk group number 1 for worldwide all the way down to COM1 and COM2, Turbo 6, COM1 and COM2, which are old DMR Mark talk groups that sometimes still get kind of used, but they're not as popular as they used to be. Got a lot of Brandmeister talk groups in here too. So I've got that template, and then I've got templates for, and again, I suggest that you take a repeater or your hotspot, and let me open my hotspot. Well, okay, let me do this first. the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna say, okay, so one of the newest repeaters we have in the North Texas area is in Richland Hills, which is just a little bit south of Hurst.
That way.
And it's got these 5 talk groups in it right now: North Texas wide, Hurst Amateur Radio Club, Texas statewide, WARG, and the Texas Nexus.
Did you manually put those in there, or did this come off of the Contact Manager site?
No, I manually put these in here.
Okay.
We're gonna get to that. Okay. So what you do is, add channel, and you've got this. I wish it was a little bit bigger on the screen, but this window doesn't maximize any. If you right click anywhere in here and you go to the channels tab, you right click, you add channel. Okay, I can go and I can set the channel name. The bandwidth is always going to be 12.5 for DMR. You can do an analog channel at 25 kilohertz. You can add that too. Set your power. Set your receive frequency. Set your transmit offset. It's either simplex or plus or minus. Timeout timer can be whatever you want to. Admit criteria. I usually leave mine as always. We used to do channel free or color code free, and it used to help with doubling on the repeater, but these days with the way the networks work, that doesn't work as well as it used to because there's so much activity out there now. And you can hit the drop down here. No, I'm not right there. You can hit the drop down. Let's see. That's not right. Oh, that's why I'm on the wrong tab. I'm on DMR channel here. So on the DMR channel tab, you can hit the drop down. It's basically the same drop downs. You hit the drop down menu. You can choose your talk group. You can choose your time slot 1 or 2, and you can go from there. Okay.
And real fast, what are the time slots?
Time slots is 1 and 2. So what a time slot does, okay. So all DMR systems are 12.5 kilohertz, which is referred to as narrowband.
That's standard for any analog.
No, most analog systems are wideband, which is 25 kilohertz. Okay, DMR, Fusion, D-Star are all narrowband, which is 12.5 kilohertz. Mm-hmm. So half of 25. DMR takes that 12.5 and it splits it in half yet again, and it has 6.25 kilohertz for time slot 1 and 6.25 kilohertz for time slot 2. And the way it works is through time division multiple access, TDMA. It allows you to have 2 conversations on the same frequency at the same time, and they don't crash into one another.
Cool.
So you basically have doubled the capacity of your repeater.
So on the same frequency, you can hold 2 different conversations.
Correct. Yeah, you can have 3 or 4 people talking on time slot 1 on a specific talk group, and 2 or 3 people talking on time slot 2 on a different talk group, and those conversations don't crash into one another. That's the beauty of DMR.
And real fast from Rob here, he's asking what is a C-bridge? And that's the network backend that a repeater connects to.
Correct.
To connect to other repeaters for the bridging over the internet.
Yeah, a C-bridge. We explained what a C-bridge is in my last video.
Just
don't want to get too deep into it tonight because we're talking about code plugs tonight. But it's a way to connect repeaters together over the internet.
But you don't have to worry about doing it. That's something on the back end someone else does.
Correct. Okay. So what I've done is, and I should have said this up front, this is not the only way to build a code plug, but this is the way I do it. So a lot of people can come along. And I'm probably going to be working on a shorter series of videos to where they're about 10 minutes each that are pre-recorded and does a little bit closer up screenshot that says, okay, here's how you do this part, here's how you do this part, and then do a series of videos, this 10 or 15 videos that goes into more depth with this. I could sit here and talk about how to build a code plug for 6 hours. Nobody wants to watch a 6-hour live stream with me in it. So, but this is how I do it. So it's not the only way to do it, but I've found that for me, this is the easiest way to do it. So I create a brand new code plug. So I take that template. You saw when I pulled this template up, it has all of these talk groups already in it. So then I take a blank template with those, and I create all those talk groups and I save it. And then I take that talk group, take that template, and I add one repeater, one zone, and I just name the zone whatever the repeater name is, whatever the city is, Dallas, Denton, Carrollton, whatever. This one's called Richland Hills. And I create channels by right-clicking, going to Add Channel, going to DMR Channel, and filling in all this information. You need the transmit frequency, the receive and the receive and the transmit frequency, which is all done by offset. You need the time slot, you need the talk group, and you need the color code. And those are the 5 things you need. The rest of this stuff, like transmit power, timeout timer, admit criteria, it'll work with any setting. Those settings are really kind of more of a personal preference than anything. If you're programming in HT, I tend to program everything on high power, except for my hotspot channels. Everything else, if I'm talking from an HT into a repeater, I'm always programming on high power because it's just 4 or 5 watts. So then you can go through there and add all that. And then once you have this list, then I go to File, Save As, and I say, okay, Save As, Richland Hills. And you can see I've got MD 2017 in the front of all these because when I started this process of building these templates, I was using the MD 2017 radio and software. But through the magic of N0GSG Contact Manager, it doesn't matter. I can take all those MD 2017 files that I've created and been updating for the longest time, and I can load them into my Anytone. And it's very simple.
And what were those 5 things that you needed again?
Receive frequency and transmit frequency.
Okay.
Time slot, talk group, color code.
6 things.
That's 5 things.
I thought I saw you went to 6.
Receive, transmit, time slot, talk group, color code.
Okay.
5 fingers on a hand. Frank learned we have 5 fingers on our hand today.
I swear I saw you do.
Yeah.
And then I just went to.
That's all right.
6.
That's all right. That's all right. I need another drink. Hold on. So, go ahead and say welcome to whoever.
Alrighty then. For everyone joining us in the chat, thank you. Special shout outs to Tony KC9QVE. Thank you for joining us. He says he's an extra and
cool.
Joining us from Indiana.
Oh, good. Good.
Anthony said thank you for the general videos. Helped him out a lot.
Awesome.
Those were fun to do. And we keep ranting and rambling on, and one day we might get an extra class posted.
Hopefully
that will be soon.
We're not the delay on that. So, all right. So, Craig just asked, can you copy paste a channel and then just update the talk group, TS, etc.? Yes, you can. So once you get one channel set, I can right click, copy selection, and then I can right click again and say paste, and it'll tell me North Texas wide already exists. Paste under a new name, yes, and I'll just say new name and name it whatever I want to.
Ooh, that's
okay.
Nice. Oh, that's cheating.
And there it does that, and then I go in here, and I typically name my channel the name of whatever talk group I am. So let's say I wanted to add HRCC in here, which that doesn't exist on this repeater, but let's just say it did for a second. HRCC, and then I go down and I say, okay, the color code's already set because the color code's going to remain the same on every repeater. On each repeater is going to have, you don't change color codes on a repeater. The repeater has one color code for every talk group, no matter what time slot. The repeater over there may have a different color code, but this repeater right here always has the same color code for everything they have. So the color code we don't mess with. The frequency we don't mess with. It's all the same on each individual repeater. Time slot's going to be whatever it is, and the talk group is going to be whatever it is. Okay, so my suggestion is to... Boy, that's even small for me. My suggestion is to... I don't have that even in here. Okay, well, we'll do that later then. My suggestion is to find the talk groups and the time slots for whatever repeater you're on. Now, in Texas, we have a really great website at dmrtexas.net that lists all the repeaters in the entire state, DMR, no matter what network they're on. Brandmeister, 90% of our repeaters in Texas are on a C bridge, but we have some Brandmeister repeaters around too. So we list the location by city, what frequency they're on, what color code they're on, and the list of talk groups that are on each one. So it's really easy to find that information. I did a really quick search before we started the live stream tonight, and Oklahoma has a decent website out there now, which I hadn't seen before.
Oh, right.
So Oklahoma's got a website out that says, hey, here's kind of what we do. Here's a list of our repeaters.
Like our Texas, our DMR Texas.net?
Sort of, yeah, kind of like that. But I mean, Oklahoma's mostly on Brandmeister, so they've got a lot more active talk groups on Brandmeister. But the Oklahoma DMR website that I found was specific to, hey, what talk groups do we generally use in Oklahoma, and where are our repeaters? And it was good information to see. So yeah, you just right click, copy, right click, paste, change the time slot and talk group, and you're good. That's all you got to do. So I'm going to remove that because that's a delete that. Yes. Dave Nelson, thank you for subscribing.
Real fast on the software, is this Windows only, or does this support Macs or also Linux?
That is a really good question. I think it is Windows only. Let's see. As far as I know, it is Windows only.
Sorry.
I don't have a Mac because I don't particularly care for them. And I have tried some other stuff. They might have like a Debian build, but I don't think that they do. There's a lot of ham radio software that you can get in like a Debian, Raspbian for Raspberry Pi, Ubuntu type builds. HamPi. HamPi has a lot of different stuff on it, and it's what's used to be called Raspbian, and it has WSJTX and a bunch of other programs. To my knowledge, this only comes in Windows. I'm not 100% sure on that, but good question. I'll write that down and try to find that out. So then we take. I create one of those template files for every repeater that I've got. Okay, and I do it by creating one. Yeah, I create one channel, add channel. You add all the information, and then you just do copy paste, and you change the time slot and talk group on each channel and name it whatever you want to name it. And at the end of that, I just go to File and Save As, and I name it whatever repeater it's named. I name mine with the radio name in front of it. That's just an old habit I got into a long time ago. You don't have to do that, but I name it for whatever it's got in it. Okay, and now here's the thing. I'm going to take, and now let's say that you've created one for, okay, well, let me go through the hotspot because I do want to show that because I get to ask that question quite a bit. I've got one that's called, okay, so I've got a template that I call MD2017_OpenSpot because back when I created it, that was the main hotspot I was using. Today, no. Gosh, I am losing it today. Today, we are going to switch over here in a minute after I program this radio, and we're going to key up, we're probably going to key up the RFinder talk group and talk on it through this hotspot right here. So the RFinder talk group is talk group number 31770. So those of you who have access to that, prepare yourselves because that's probably where we're going to go here in a minute. So now I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go, okay, so I opened my open spot. Now, it doesn't have to be an open spot. It can be a Pi-Star hotspot. It can be a BlueStack. It can be whatever you want, okay? I just named it open spot way back when and have always stuck with that name, even though sometimes I use my open spot and sometimes I use my TGIF spot, but whatever. And then I created and the way you create a channel for a hotspot, okay? It's always going to be the same transmit and receive frequency. So you're gonna set the receive frequency here. I use the frequency of 434.45. Okay? You can use whatever frequency you want to, as long as it doesn't. I suggest not using something in the repeater segment of the band, which is 440 to 450. Don't use something in there. Use something below 440. A lot of these hotspots come default. They come at 439.0. You can use that. I dropped mine down a little bit farther than that just because I think there's an AMSAT frequency on 435. No, 434.55, something like that. Don't use that. Okay, don't use the AMSAT frequency either.
Aww.
But, find a frequency that is good. I use 434.45. You're going to set the receive frequency to whatever frequency you want on your hotspot. You're going to set the transmit offset as simplex. So in other words, it's transmitting and receiving on the same frequency. There's no offset like a repeater would have. Unless you have a dual time slot hotspot, then 90% of the hotspots out there are single time slot. The open spot is single time slot. The TGIF spot that I have here is single time slot. If your hotspot does not have two antennas on it, then it's a single time slot hotspot. So you're always going to set your receive frequency to one frequency. Pick your frequency. Set your offset to simplex so that it doesn't offset. Okay, and set your color code to 1 by default. Now, a lot of these newer hotspots, you can change the color code if you want to. If you want to go into your hotspot, your Pi-Star, your open spot, and change the color code to something besides 1, just because you want to be a little bit different and have less interference with maybe your neighbor's hotspot, or maybe you've got multiple hotspots, you can do that. Okay, but by default, your hotspot is on time slot 1. I'm sorry, color code 1. Okay, it's on color code 1. And it's on time slot 2. All hotspots come default on color code 1 and time slot 2.
So given on that one frequency, can I access more than just one talk group?
Yes.
I could access them all the talk groups?
You can access any talk group.
On the same frequency and color code?
Not at the same time, but yes. Yes, at different times, yes, you can.
Cool.
Okay?
Question from Kenny.
So most hotspots are single time slot. If you have a dual time slot, then you can activate one on time slot 1 and one on time slot 2 and monitor both at the same time.
So also then, since the hotspots themselves are small power output, are they for personal use or are they kind of public use out there?
They're for personal use. I've had people email me before and ask me, so can I put an amp on my hotspot and put a tower or an antenna on my tower and share it with my neighborhood? I'm like, you certainly can if your intention is to burn up your hotspot. If your intention is to completely destroy your hotspot, that's the way to do it. The hotspot's not made to be a high-duty cycle. It's not made to have a bunch of people keying it up every day. It's made for your personal use. Okay? If you want to put up a repeater in your neighborhood for your neighborhood folks or friends or your city friends to use, put up a freaking repeater. It's going to be a better duty cycle, it's going to be a better power ratio, and it's going to give you more options. Okay? A hotspot is made for you to use. It's not made for your neighborhood to use and everybody to key up, 23 hours a day. You're going to burn it up really fast.
I think you answered this one already. Can you connect to multiple hotspot network or multiple networks, TGIF and Brandmeister, on the same hotspot?
Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah. In fact, if you go into the drop-down menu on a Pi-Star hotspot, you'll see a list outside of the camera view that I can hold my hands right now. So I'll show you guys what Pi-Star looks like here in a second.
I ran out of questions, so continue on, at least for hotspots.
Okay. So now you've got all of these in here. So you create one, you name it whatever you want. Transmit power of low is my suggestion because the hotspot is like milliwatts. It's like 50 milliwatts or 70 milliwatts or something like that, depending on which transceiver board you've got in your hotspot. Pick a frequency, choose simplex, choose a timeout timer, which usually comes at 60. I usually set my timeout timers around 165 or 180. Those are seconds. So 180 seconds is 3 minutes. That's usually what I set mine at. You can set yours whatever you want to. If you're long-winded and you want to cut yourself off, leave it at 60. If you're long-winded and you just want people to hear you, then turn it up all the way. People will stop listening to you. Nobody will come back to you if you've hogged the hotspot for like 4.5 minutes. But, that's on you. So admit criteria on a hotspot should be always. There's no one else talking on your hotspot except you. So you can set it to channel free, and if someone else is keyed up and you try to key up on top of them, it should bonk you. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It just kind of depends on network latency. It kind of depends on exactly when you key up at the same time as someone else and that kind of thing. I just always set my hotspots to always, and sometimes people double on talk groups. It happens on analog every day. People double on repeaters. It's just kind of one of those things. Just try to be courteous to your fellow ham and Q, whoever you're QSOing with.
That's just general.
So right,
amateur radio courtesy.
So all this relay and RF reference frequency, I don't ever mess with any of that. This emergency system, I don't mess with that. The contact name is your talk group, whatever talk group that you want. Set the talk group there. Color code 1, TDMA time slot is 2. TDMA time slot's always going to be 2 on every hotspot unless you have a dual time slot hotspot. I'm not going to really get into much detail on that tonight. And then group list, you can set a receive group if you want to. We're not doing that today. And then once you save that, I'm going to cancel it because I don't know if I changed anything. Once you save that, you can right-click on it and say copy, and then right-click again and say paste, and it'll paste another channel that it'll want you to name something else, and you just keep changing the talk group over and over again. And then you do that, and you can see right here, I've done that 26 times because I've got 26 talk groups that I can talk at through my hotspot.
Headphones, don't worry about it.
Okay. So now I've got these 26 talk groups, and I can add to this. That's the cool thing about saving this. If I want to add a talk group to my hotspot, or if the guy in Richland Hills says, hey, I just put this brand new talk group on my repeater. Oh, okay. So I open up my little template file. I add one talk group to it, and then we're going to import it into our code plug later, and I'm going to get to that here in just a second. NXDN Kentucky asks, any downside to using a Kenwood or in general multi-mode radios on hotspots? Example, keying Kentucky statewide on DMR but using P25 and NXDN right after multiple times. If I understand your question correctly, then you're talking about changing modes on the hotspot, to which I would say probably not. There's probably not a problem with that. However, you want to be aware that your hotspot may not handle that very well. I don't know. Good question. I don't know if I'm understanding your question quite 100%.
He says, yes, just using multiple modes for multiple times a day.
No, there shouldn't be. They're made to do that. There shouldn't be any problem with that. The only thing I would be leery of on a hotspot is having it keyed up too long, realistically.
And that's the hotspot transmitting too long.
Right, having it transmitting too long, yeah. Well, but even if it's receiving, it's still it's a transceiver. So if you're hearing the hotspot on your radio, yes, then the hotspot is transmitting to you.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
That's what I mean.
So it's yeah, that's the only thing I'd be leery of because the duty cycle on them is very low. As far as switching multi-modes, no, there's no problem with that. And my restream chat has borked again. Hold on, I wonder if I can fix that on the fly. Give me one. Right. Go ahead, Frank.
Dennis, welcome to the show tonight. K9BOQ. He says he's going to take his extra test tomorrow.
Awesome.
That
is great.
Then we have KB10. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have Bill from Florida, KX4VE. Then I wonder, did you see the SpaceX land? Splashdown was today. I was watching that all day.
Interesting.
While I was smoking on my smoker. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Then we got Randy from California, KN6BZG. Thank you for joining us. And we have KI5BZI from New Mexico. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks for joining, for sure.
Roberto, thank you for joining us from Philadelphia, N3NDX.
Yeah,
I'm just reading these from the chat now.
That's fine. My connection, I don't know. I gotta figure that out. That's really irritating.
W6NYX, thank you for joining us. And also, if you want throughout the week, you can go ahead and join us on the Discord.
On the Discord channel.
Posting the link now. There's a bunch of awesome channels there for help you out in all the different disciplines that we have in amateur radio, and also including swap chat, where you post stuff that you're looking to look or use, or trying to help to find someone that's selling it, or you want to sell it. That's a great place for it. Also, there's DMR channels and HF channels, and
there's an HF spotter channel that I often, when I'm going out and doing Parks on the Air activations, I spot myself on there, or if I spot somebody else on there, I'll do that. We use that quite a bit during 13 Colonies week. So good deal. Yes, hit the thumbs up button also, folks, if y'all don't mind.
Also got a Chuck N8BSV. Thank you for joining us today.
Cool.
You still need a little more time? I could keep going.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Right. Temporary offline is in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Man, me and Steve had a good stream the other day.
Yeah, y'all did a Raspberry Pi building thing last night.
Installing a headless Raspberry Pi.
Cool. All right, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go back to this, and I've got now I've got on Brandmeister you can key up group call 4000 and it disconnects. So I created a channel called Destroy in all caps. So when I key up my hotspot group call 4000, it destroys the talk group. It disconnects the hotspot. So I just called it Destroy.
I like that.
Yeah. It's not bad. So now I'm going to come in here. So now I've got a let's see. Okay. Now I've got a template saved for all the talk groups I want. Now I've got a template saved for my hotspot, and for 1 repeater or 10 repeaters or 50 repeaters, doesn't matter. How you got 1 template per repeater, 1 template for your hotspot, and 1 template for your contacts. Okay, you've got all these files, and you can see these files are tiny. Like this one right here for the talk groups is 21 kilobytes. Okay, this one for the Richland Hills repeater is 800 kilobytes. So it's not. And the only reason I think that one's that big is because I've got some private calls in it. So now I'm going to come out here, and I'm going to open Codeplug, and I'm going to open my, there it is. I'm going to open my Codeplug that I just read from my brand new radio I just unpackaged. Okay, so I read the radio. I did an export as a data conversion file, saved it as some name somewhere, and now I've loaded it into the N0GSG Contact Manager. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here to this structural import tab, and I'm going to turn off private call, and I'm going to turn off scan list because I don't care about that for the purposes of this demonstration. I'm going to leave checked contacts for group call or for group contacts. I'm going to leave check channels. I'm going to leave check zones. And I'm going to click on import selected structures here, and it's going to ask me which Codeplug file do I want to open. So I'm going to go back to that Codeplug file that I just created for talk groups. And it tells me that 149 talk groups have been imported, 0 channels, and 1 zone. Okay? Now the zone it imported is just a BS zone because it comes up and it has to have the zone can't be blank in the Codeplug for the contact manager. So you just create kind of a dummy zone that we'll get rid of later. Same thing for channel 1 and channel 2. These right here, they're just kind of dummy channels as placeholders right now. We'll get rid of those later. Don't worry about that right now. Okay, so we've got 2 zone 1s in here now, and I can switch from zone 1 to zone 1. I'm going to go ahead and delete this zone. I don't need 2 zone 1s. You're going to look over in your contacts, and here's all your contacts. Another cool thing that I didn't mention before, you can sort your contacts by contact name, by DMR ID. I always sort mine by ID, because then I can go through and say, you know what, did I ever load TAC 317? And I can scroll down here and say, oh yeah, because all of these are in numerical order. Oh yeah, there's 317 right there. Okay, cool. I got it in here. Oh, did I load Oklahoma statewide, which is 3140? Let me look. And you go down in numerical order. There it is right there. Oklahoma statewide.
This is the group ID for the.
That's the talk group number.
Yeah, not
the talk group
not
number.
member ID.
No,
DMR.
we haven't gotten to private calls yet.
Yeah.
This is the talk group number or group ID. Okay, so there's a group ID and a private ID. That's what it's called in the CPS. The group ID is your talk group. The private ID is when the person's call sign comes up on the screen when they're talking. We're going to get to that. Just bear with me for a second. So now I've loaded all this big huge template of talk group, 150 different talk groups. I've loaded it into the code plug that I just read from my brand new radio. Okay. And I can go to File, Save As, and I'm just going to save it as the same name. I called it Scratch 1. I'm going to save it as Scratch 1. It says, do you want to overwrite? Yes, I do. Saved. We're done. Now, I'm going to go back to Structural Import, and I'm going to load I don't need to load my contacts again. I can if I want to.
And your contacts here are
your group contacts, which is your talk groups.
Okay.
Okay, contacts dash group is what that says.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't need to load my contacts again because I just loaded them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to uncheck that. You can do it if you want to. It's not going to change anything. So I'm just going to uncheck that. I'm going to go to Import, and I'm going to load and go back to the template folder, and I'm going to load the one that I called it OpenSpot, but it could be anything. Import that. It tells me 26 channels have imported and 1 zone. So I'll go back to zones, and now I have a zone 1, which is a dummy zone, and I have a zone called OpenSpot. And again, you can name the zone TGIF spot, you can name it Zoom spot, you can name it Hotspot, you can name it Pi Star, you name it whatever you want to. Doesn't matter what the name is. Okay? So now I don't need my dummy zone anymore because I have an actual zone in there. The dummy zone that was a placeholder can go away. I can go delete zone. And now the only zone I have, if I go left and right on this zone button, is the open spot. Fine, let's add another one. Go back to structural import. I don't need my contacts again. Go to import. I'm going to add the Richland Hills repeater. It adds 5 channels in 1 zone. Click OK. Now your zones are open spot and Richland Hills. And one of the cool things about it is I can click on reorder, and if I want them in a certain order, I can reorder them here. If I've got 10 that I've imported by now, there's 10 zones in there. I can put them in alphabetical order. I can put it in whatever order I want. So now you've got that, and I can go to channels. What I do suggest is you go through these channels. These are your dummy channels here. Let's go ahead and get rid of those. Those are also placeholders. Delete that. Delete that. Okay, I suggest that when you just kind of do a once-over just to make sure it didn't screw up anything. Again, you've got a backup. If this is a brand new radio, you don't have anything to lose. If you had the radio already and you made a backup, like I said at the beginning, you should be okay. So you're not going to screw anything up. Okay? But like the channel named Arkansas Statewide, make sure that the transmit contact over here also says Arkansas Statewide. The one that says HRCC here, make sure that it says HRCC in both the channel name and the contact name. The channel name can really be anything you want to. You can call it 45321. But if you know what that channel 45321 should be HRCC, then just make sure over here in the contact column, this column right here, you've got the right talk group selected so that when you key up a channel, it's not keying up another talk group that you're not expecting. Okay, now I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to import my own backyard repeater. KC5HWB, right there. 57 channels and 1 zone. I get a little bit overzealous when I put channels in my repeater.
I can see that.
Yeah, so.
Is it actually on right now?
It actually is on right now. I was talking on it earlier today.
Oh, really?
So now I'll go back to...
I was going to catch you on that.
Oh, yeah. I've actually been on DMR quite a bit this week.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been monitoring. It's Texas statewide.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to reorder, and I was like, you know what? I want my repeater at the top. I'll move it to the top there. Highlight it, click the up arrow, move it to the top. I want my open spot to be second because I use my repeater, I use my hotspot, and then I want everything else underneath that to be in alphabetical order, which is only Richland Hills right now, so I'll just leave it there. Done. And now I've got all this stuff in here. I'll go in here and I'll make sure that my basic... I do need to make sure that my... yeah, RFinder is there. Okay, we're good on that. And now I am going to save that, file save. And I'm just going to save it as the same name. Again, you can name it whatever you want to. That there, that there. And now I'm done with the N0GSG Contact Manager. I'm going to close it. I'm going to go back to my Anytone programming software. I'm going to go find that file that I just saved. which for whatever reason, the Contact Manager saves it or has to open it as a data conversion file, but it can read it. It can save it as an RDT file. Go figure. So let's see. Let's go. Oh, that's why. I know why. Codeplugs, TYT, templates, Livestream. This is a folder I created. Scratch 1. And there it is. Load file OK. Here are my zones I just created, and they are in the order I put them in the Contact Manager. My repeater's at the top, my open spot's second, and the Richland Hills repeater is third. Okay. Here are my talk groups. I need to scroll up. There you go. Here are all my talk groups. 62 of them. And it's only showing me the talk groups that I have actually used in channels, but there's more of them than that in there because you saw, I don't know why it shows that. There's probably a setting in there somewhere. But here's all my channels. So I've got all these channels in here. I've got 88 channels. And if I go into zone, I can go into, in that zone, I can edit this here if I want to. I've already edited it in the Contact Manager. I don't need to do this again, but I can go in here and double check it if I want to. Here's all the available channels. Here's all the zone channels that are as it sits normally. And then I can go right to my radio. And I can do that right now. Now, somebody asked earlier about loading contacts that shows the call sign for the person who's talking instead of just their DMR ID. Let's do that.
I think I asked
What is
that.
Josh talking about in there, man? Is he bad-mouthing me? Is he calling me names again?
No, he just got back from prospecting.
Oh,
and
yeah.
working mobile, and he was apologizing to us because he messed up his premiere time, and it stepped on us a bit. So I said, he's fine this time.
Oh, I didn't know.
This time.
I didn't know he was doing a premiere. I know he's going prospecting today.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to go here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to go. Let's go back over here. RadioID.net is where you... Nope, that is wrong. RadioID.net. Right there. RadioID.net is where you go to download. Now, I've got a little bit different view than you guys do because I got a... hey, you know what? It didn't sign me in. Okay, so what you want to do is sign in here. Two-factor authentication. This sucker.
Boo.
Oh, no, I set that up on... Well, I'm an admin on this site. I have to have that.
Okay.
So,
while you do that...
Go ahead.
Question from Christopher. Is there software to download like Zillow to put on my computer to use for DMR?
No.
Oh, I thought there was.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything like Zillow for DMR. There are some guys who connect a Zillow room. Zillow's a house listing site. Zillow. There are some guys who connect a Zillow room to DMR through like something that's set up on their own computer at home. But there's nothing that...
Like Echolink, a better probably analogy.
Kinda, sorta.
Example software.
It kind of ruins the network when they do that, in my opinion, because Zellow's just kind of...
Zello.
Zello is what you use.
He was just saying that like Zello, not Zello.
Zellow's... Oh, okay. No. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I'll put it like that.
Josh says he's moving boulders around and trying to work QRP.
Nice. Okay, so let's go back to this window here. And I'm in radioid.net. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on database. It says use one of these search areas above. If you're looking for entire dumps of the database, please click on this link here. We're going to click on database dump. We're going to download the users.csv file. Okay, which I've already done that. I'll go ahead and download it again. You're going to see a 2 after it, parentheses 2, because I already downloaded this today.
What is these DMR ID things? What is the DMR ID?
You have to register on radioid.net with your call sign to get an ID that goes into your code plug that identifies you on the network. It's like an IP address for your radio on the network.
And do you have to get one?
Yes, you do.
The DMR?
Yes, you do.
And you register through this site?
You register through this site. It's free. Doesn't cost anything.
Okay.
You have to get one. Brandmeister will block you if you don't have a valid ID.
Ooh, that's cool.
So yes, you have to get one. It is free. You just have to register. That's all it is. Okay, now that we've got that downloaded, I'm going to go back over here to my software. I'm going to go to Tool, Import, and it gives me this message about you can't use older versions, and that's okay. And I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to click on this digital contact list on the side, and I'm going to go find that file that I just downloaded that's called users.csv parentheses 2, which is right... that's not it. But yeah, that's the one I downloaded earlier today. Where the heck did it go? Oh, I know why. Never mind. I downloaded it on the wrong computer. But this is the one I downloaded like 4 hours ago. Again, Radio ID updates once every 24 hours. So I'm going to open that, and it's going to list that in this section right here. This is 169,204 IDs. Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of time while I click on import, and then we're going to have to wait because it's going to take a little bit of time to import 169,204 IDs. This radio capacity is
Chris asked
200,000.
Chris asked N0GSG. Do you have to get an ID per radio?
No, you can use the same ID on all radios.
Cool.
They give you, when you go register on radioid.net, they automatically give you 2 IDs. So in theory, you can put one ID in your HT and one ID in your mobile. That's why they do it. But if you have 17 HTs the way I do, I put the same ID in all my HTs.
While we'll wait for this also, Rob asked a long time ago, I saved this one up for this part where we're talking about, can you make private calls for our user ID to user ID over a hotspot?
I believe that you can. I've never tried it. I've talked to other people who claim they've done it, so I believe that you can. Depends on what. It depends on what network you're talking on. Mm-hmm. Brandmeister used to allow it. I thought they stopped it for a while, and then I think they started it again. I'm not 100% sure. I don't talk on Brandmeister much.
Okay.
So, in theory, it's possible. It's really whether the network administrator allows you or not. All right, so we got import complete here on the thing. I click OK. Now I go over here to my digital contact list, this long list on the side here. I'm just going to click on the bottom one. There it goes. Kind of freaked out on me because it didn't show me the taskbar. And now I've got 169,204 contacts in my code plug.
Oh my God, that's going to take no.
That I'm going to write, and now I'm going to write it to the radio. Now I've got today's database dump of the entire database in my code plug. The Anytone radio will handle 200,000 contacts. So we're getting close to the wire here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not there yet. 169,204. We still got about 30,000 some odd to go.
Just be gone by next month.
Yeah. The D578 mobile radio will hold 300,000 contacts, but the HTs only hold 200,000. At this time, I think they're going to be able to update that with firmware in the future. Okay, so we'll see what Anytone does with that.
Echo Live says that he has made private calls via Brandmeister.
Okay, They've changed that a couple of times in the past. They disallowed it for a while, then they re-allowed. I don't know. Again, I don't talk on Brandmeister much, so I'm not 100% sure. The technology will allow you to do that. Yes, you can absolutely do that with the technology. You can do it simplex. You can do it through a repeater. You can do it through a hotspot with the technology. The question is, does the network administrator of whatever network you're connecting to allow it? And sometimes that's yes, and sometimes that's no. So, good. They're allowing that right now. That's great news. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so now I'm going to write this code plug to my radio. Right, yes. And and when this box comes up and it says other data is checked by default and digital contact list is unchecked. The 169,204 contacts I just downloaded and loaded into my code plug, if I don't check that digital contact list, it's not going to put them in the radio. Okay, so what that does is that keeps you from having to rewrite those digital contacts into your code plug every time you make a small change to a repeater or add or a talk group or add a second channel or something like that.
That's super nice.
It's super nice.
I love that
because I'm going to click OK right now, and we're going to go outside and smoke a cigar while this writes. That's the other data, and there you go. That's the contacts writing now.
Cool.
So it takes a few minutes. It doesn't take that long. We can't smoke a cigar in that time, but
well, we could start.
We could start one. Yeah. So it takes some time to write 169,204 contacts into your code plug. So that's why you don't check that box every time. You usually quite frankly, I don't load the contacts in my radio about once a month.
Well, only when you need to update them.
It updates every day. They add new contacts to the database every day.
You're not going to update your contacts every day.
Correct.
But when you do update them, then you check that box.
Yes.
Because other than that, like you said, making one change to new repeater, we don't have
new
to
repeater,
wait this minute. That
added this new channel to this one zone for this one repeater, itty bitty minor change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you're not going to want to rewrite the contacts every single time. It's going to be a pain in the butt to wait this long. There it goes.
No.
It's
now
not done
it's
yet.
writing them.
Oh, it just that's right. Yeah. So it reads them and then it writes them.
Have you used Sigma software?
I don't think so. What is that?
I don't know. That was a question.
Oh, that was a question. Sigma. No, I haven't used that. Tell me what that is.
From I sorry, I'm not going to pronounce your name.
Benoit.
I'm not going to even try.
Ed Sweeney, thank you for joining the intro group. Those of you who don't know, I'll go ahead and plug this real quick while we're waiting on that to write. It's at 5% right now, by the way.
So we could have a cigar.
So we could have a cigar. So Ed Sweeney just joined the intro group, which is the intro group to my YouTube members. YouTube members receive special perks on YouTube. They get early access to all videos that I post. They can go out there and watch them before the video goes public. They get their name in bold green. These guys typing in bold green like Paul Day Maroney with the little icon next to his name. He's a YouTube member. And if you send me your email, because YouTube doesn't share that with me, if you send me your email, I also add you to my monthly newsletter.
Cool.
So thank you for the support. That does help the channel grow, so thank you for the support.
Patreon? The other new thing?
Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. Yeah, Paul says, if you don't talk on Brandmeister, what network do you use? The Texas network. So Texas has had a network on a Seabridge network called Lone Star since 2010. Brandmeister didn't come online. They started, their whole Brandmeister thing started in 2015. So we had DMR in Texas for 5 years before Brandmeister was ever a thing. So our repeaters in Texas are on a Seabridge. And now there's multiple Seabridge. I own my own Seabridge, actually, which I have 30 repeaters on right now. So we use a Seabridge network. The beauty about it, and I did a whole live stream on the differences between, or I just called it Understanding DMR Networks. The great thing about a Seabridge is I can bring in talk groups from other Seabridges. I can bring in talk groups from Brandmeister. I can bring in talk groups from TGIF. I can bring in talk groups from DMR Plus. I can bring in talk groups from anywhere I want to, and I can route whatever talk groups I want to whatever repeater I want to. So if the repeater owner comes to me and says, hey, I want this Brandmeister talk group, okay, here you go. If I connected my repeater to Brandmeister, I am limited to Brandmeister only talk groups. Now, Brandmeister has like 2,000 talk groups. Okay, it's not like they're hurting for talk groups. However, we have talk groups in Texas that are Seabridge only that we keep inside of Texas so that we can use our statewide and our Metroplex talk groups throughout various parts of Texas for only users in those areas, and they don't get piped all over the world like Brandmeister pipes all over their stuff all over the world. So it's a matter of personal preference. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I personally like the Seabridge better. Some people don't agree with me, and that's okay. That's okay. But the great thing about the Seabridge is I get to pick and choose what I can do instead of being limited to Brandmeister only. Mm-hmm. Plus the fact that we've had a network in Texas for 5 years longer than Brandmeister's ever existed. So we're usually on our local Texas talk groups, Texas statewide, North Texas wide, East Texas wide, and some of these others.
And Ed Sweeney, he is KC3PFT.
Thank you, sir, for joining. So, Rob says, "Can we use your Seabridge, Jason?" Yeah, I have 30 repeaters connected to my Seabridge. About 5 of them are mine. The other 25 belong to various people throughout Texas. In fact, one of the guys is in Westlake, Louisiana, right on the other side of the Texas-Louisiana border. One guy lives in New York on Long Island and has a repeater on North Padre Island, but he has his repeater on North Padre connected to my Seabridge, and he has his repeater in Long Island connected to his repeater in North Padre. It's really kind of cool networking stuff that we do. So yes, Rob, yes, you can. My Seabridge is full at this moment, but I'm about to expand it. In fact, I get my Seabridge from Bridgecom. My Seabridge has Bridgecom written all over it. So, is that done yet? Dadgum, nope. That's at 39%.
Yep.
Somebody talk about something. Yeah. So here's the radio. It says PC write on the screen. And it's only taken so long because I'm writing 169,204 contacts to it.
How many contacts again?
I've memorized that number in case you haven't figured it out.
What number was that?
169,204.
Can you spell it?
I cannot. They're numbers. They don't spell. Could I tap it out in Morse code? That would be the question.
Ooh, that's good. You beat me to it.
Oh, wow.
What is the RFinder TG number?
31770. 31770.
W3Q.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
CQK. Yeah.
That thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
CQK. Yeah. 31770 is the RFinder talk group. If Josh is, here we go.
I'll just go throw some more links in here. Ooh, ham radio or shop.hamradio2.com. You can buy some branded gear, t-shirts from a bunch of the YouTubers, and also cool mugs, tumblers, shirts now in purple, and here you still do the email, right? We haven't put that out in a while.
Email?
Yeah, your email. Sign up email.
Yes. Yeah, I send an email about once a week.
Yep.
I did not send one last week because I'll be sending the special email tomorrow for the QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo at their request. Mm-hmm. So I'll be sending that tomorrow. But yes, I send an email about once a week.
Roberto asked a while ago, what do you think about the box chip phone, radio phone?
You know what? I've been wanting to get one of those for a while. From what I have read, I've never had one in my hand. Okay? And I'm a big RFinder fan. Now, I've said this 1,000 times. This should be not news to anybody. From what I've read, it doesn't have as many features as the RFinder.
2 RFinders sitting over there.
Right. But I would like to get one of those in my hand so I can do an actual real-life comparison. I really would. From what I hear, the box chip is good. It just doesn't have as many features as the RFinder. And this is a fact for sure. The RFinder has support in the USA. If you need support for the RFinder, you get on Facebook, you talk to Bob directly. He's in New York. If you need support for the box chip, you have to contact China. So, good, bad, ugly, right, wrong, whatever. I'm just saying those are the facts.
About
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah. Bob is both good, bad, and ugly. So, which is why he and I get along so well.
Yes. Sorry,
But,
Bob. I just had to
yeah.
throw that in there.
Yeah. I'd sent this link to Bob earlier. He didn't join. I'm going to have to razz him about that later on. Dillweed.
Craig asks, what's your choice of cigars, Jason?
My favorite cigar is the Arturo Fuente Añejo.
As far as a regular smoke for me, the Padron 2000, I just jumped up to a 4000
Those are good.
today.
Those are good.
Man, I never had a bad Padron.
Yes.
Usually,
yeah, Padrones are great.
Every now and then you find a bag cigar that's just wrapped wrong.
Yeah.
I never had one from Padron.
All right, so someone asked earlier, I'm going to take this opportunity because this thing is at 71%, so it'll get done in a second. Somebody asked earlier about how to, if you could connect to TGIF, Brandmeister, and all these different talk groups through Pi-Star. Here's what you do. So you log into your Pi-Star. This is the Pi-Star dashboard. Okay, well, actually, this is the dashboard. This is what Pi-Star looks like right here. This is, I was on YSF earlier. I changed the DMR. If you go into configuration, it should ask you to log in. Pi-Star is the username. Raspberry is the password. I suggest you change that once you get it. So this is the Pi-Star dashboard. When you come down here and you've got DMR selected up top, like I do, and you come down here, oh, I'm on the TGIF network. Yeah, I need to change this. So here's all the freaking servers that you can connect to right now. All these ones that say BM are obviously Brandmeister. I'm going to connect to Brandmeister. No, it must be down at the bottom. There's DMR Plus right there. There's HBEA. I don't even know what that is. HB France. Those are probably HB Link servers. HB Italy, which is really cool. Crazy Horse Network, Ozark Digital, FDarn. So these are all the different servers you can connect to, and there are a ton of them. So it is... Where is my Brandmeister 30... Oh, there... wait a minute. There it is. Okay, I missed it right there. Brandmeister United States 3102s. Actually, I'm going to connect to 3103. I think it's a little bit more reliable these days. Here's, you see my DMR color code? I've changed it to 9. I said earlier it was defaulted at 1, and it is. If you get a brand new Pi-Star or OpenSpot, it's going to be defaulted to 1. Used to be you couldn't change that, but through firmware updates that they do and all this kind of new stuff they add, you can now change your color code on a hotspot. And I set mine to 9 because I have all my personal repeaters set to 9. It's just a number I picked a long time ago for no reason at all. Apply changes. We're still not done. We're at 89%. Okay. So now I'm going to connect to Brandmeister 3103. And we're going to key up the RFinder talk group. Josh, if you're in the chat, we could connect to HRCC instead. I was going to ask you that earlier, but you were out. So let me know if you're still in the chat or not. If not, we'll just connect him. Because I sent Bob a message and said, we're going to connect to RFinder, and he's probably out too because it's Sunday. Nobody's at home.
Yeah. Or at the office.
Yeah.
But Bob's always in the office.
Yeah, his home office. So let's see. Okay, so now we're on Brandmeister United States 3103. Color code 9. I'm going to have to change that. Oh, I'm going to have to change that. I am going to change that to 1 because that's what my hotspot is set to.
Or you just change it back to default.
Huh?
Color code
No. The code plug I just loaded has it all set to 9.
Oh.
All right, set to 1 rather.
Okay.
99%.
Almost there.
Almost there. And there it is. Write data complete.
Ooh, that took a bit.
Yeah, so that took almost 10 minutes. The screen still says copying data. There it goes.
Yeah.
And now it's booting.
The Anytones do take a second after it's done to do something on its internal before it reboots. So do leave it until it's
absolutely
ready. And
okay, unplug it. And now, oops. And now I'm going to go. Okay, so OpenSpot.
Do you want to switch to that camera up there so they can see what you're doing?
No, I don't have it on right now. OpenSpot, Hotspot, RFinder. Okay, now I'm actually gonna switch to this one over here.
Christopher asked, do you need to get different DMR IDs for hotspots?
No. In fact, they will not let you register a new ID for a hotspot because what you do is you take your own subscriber ID and you put a 01, 02, 03 or something like that after it.
And that's also the same for repeaters?
No, repeaters do have their own their own IDs.
Okay.
A repeater ID is 6 digits. A personal ID, my ID, Frank's ID is 7 digits. And so our hotspot ID may be 7 digits plus 2, plus 01, plus 02, whatever. Realistically, you don't need to add a 0102 after your hotspot. The reason they started doing that is because people had multiple hotspots. So you're not really supposed to have more than one hotspot on the network at a time with the same number on it. So if you have 3 hotspots in 3 different locations on the same network, you can't put your ID on all 3 of them, in theory.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's when you add the -1, 2,
correct.
3.
That's correct.
And what radio you have right there?
This is an Anytone D878. Let's see. Right there. Okay, I'm going to switch over to this view. So, okay, let's see if this does it or not. Oh, yeah, there it is. KC5HWB on the RFinder talk group testing 1, 2, 3. If not, we're going to switch over to HRCC and invade Josh over there.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, we might do that.
Agree. Every time I think Josh, I just see him do that.
You guys are, anybody on 31770 right now? Yep, talk group 31770, there it is. You can see it on the screen.
So are you changing the talk groups with your radio?
With the radio. Whatever you key up on the radio is what activates the talk group on the hotspot.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Someone is using 31770. Really, I don't hear them. Of course, I had to activate the talk group. So if they're still talking, then if they haven't unkeyed yet, that's why I can't hear them.
Long-winded.
Yeah, could be.
A lot of us are in ham radio because of that.
Right. That's right. So, all right, let's see. Let me go over here.
I ran out of shout-outs.
There we go.
Give me some new ones.
VK6MMV.
If you haven't put your call sign in the chat and where you're from, go ahead and do that. We'll say hello.
That's right. All right, is this frequency in use or is this talk group in use? KC5HWB from Texas.
I'm watching your live right now.
Eduardo. Oh, there he is. Whiskey 1 Charlie Yankee. Yeah, that's the one that. Okay, Eduardo, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't want to... someone in the chat on YouTube said that the talk group was in use, so if you guys are in the middle of a conversation, don't let me interrupt you.
No, we got a round table going here,
That's
Jason. Round table. So,
good.
I just saw a VK6 come in here.
Uh-huh.
I gave it to him, but I saw earlier that you were doing something with the Codeplug thing. So if you want to, I guess you can do what you have to do. I'll just finish up over here. But I did want to say hello to the guy down there in Australia.
Yeah, go ahead. Michael, VK6 MMB, I think it was. Go ahead. Of course, there's a 30-second delay on YouTube. Oh, great stuff, man. There you go.
Okay, not hearing anything. Eduardo, I'll do 73. I think Jason's doing some sort of a training thing for how to program radios. So I'm going to go on the side here.
Whew. Got some
Eduardo, back to you just for the final.
hazelnut in it. I need another beer.
That's the one drawback with your current setup.
I know.
The beer refill fridge is over there.
That's right, yeah. Okay, Howie. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I didn't want to interrupt anything. I just wanted to. We've been on Livestream for about an hour and a half now. Just talking about programming a code plug for the Anytone. And Michael VK6MMB, I think is what his call sign was. He's been watching us and commenting on the chat too. So I just wanted to prove that it was working after I wrote this code plug. So you have done that by coming back to me, sir. I really appreciate that. KC5HWB.
Yeah, very good. Very good, Jason. All right. Look, you go ahead. I'm watching hockey, so I can put the radio down.
They're playing hockey?
Yeah, I went looking for you on
hockey.
Facebook, but I couldn't find anything because I knew you were somewhere. But I couldn't find it, so. Anyway, you carry on. I'll be sitting here in the weeds. WB2TQing.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're on YouTube. I'm not streaming to Facebook at the moment. I'm trying to get a system set up where it'll let me stream to my Facebook group at the same time I'm streaming to YouTube. And there's a way to do that, but you got to pay for it. So, which I'm not opposed to, but I got to work out all the kinks of it first. So,
No one's
cool,
on
man.
Facebook.
I sent you the link in Skype just now to the YouTube video. 73, thank you for the use of the talk group. Have fun watching hockey. WB2TQE from KC5HWB on the RFinder talk group. Anybody else out there?
I didn't know they were playing hockey.
I didn't know there were either.
Or is it reruns?
I don't
I don't know.
Could be. I don't know. I do not know. Anyway, so test successful.
Everybody left. K3 next year.
There's John Micklor.
And I'll let you play with the channel there, Jason. I'll be watching actually live on YouTube. So thanks for the tutorial there. Nice video as usual. That's Whiskey 1 Charlie Yankee Eduardo, 73.
Joshua says NHL is live for the 2020 playoffs.
That's good for them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Eduardo. Yeah, thank you for the use of the talk group, sir. We won't be here long, and thank you for watching on YouTube as well. Appreciate that for sure. And John, K3NX, I think it's K3NXU. Please go ahead and take it. KC5HWB. Yeah, the flutter in the mic is my keying up next to this. That's called DMR. Every time I've recorded
It's by HWB, K3NXU. I just want to come in here and let you know that you're not alone, that other people are actually listening. Going back to the YouTube, you and Frank, and I'll just go into the monitoring mode. K3NXU, stay safe and stay healthy.
All right, John. Hey, I appreciate it, man. You guys have a good one. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Too bad I didn't get to see you in Dayton again this year, but we're crossing our fingers for Orlando come next February. Hopefully everything will be kind of settled down by then, and we'll get a chance to actually get back to a ham fest because I haven't been to one since February. So, 73, thanks for watching tonight, and you stay safe. KC5HWB. Howie's in there says, the RFinder B1 doesn't need a code plug. That's true. But this does. That's what we're talking about tonight. So, yeah, flutter in the mic, Tony, is going to be normal. Every time I key up a DMR radio, it's going to interfere with my soundboard over here. So, that's just nature of the beast, man. In fact, I kind of like it.
You like
It's like,
it?
yeah, because it's like, hey, the transmitter works.
Are you proving to the YouTube people that you're actually doing the thing that you're saying you're doing?
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's just not done in
It's got
post-production?
actual RF coming through it. Actual RF coming through it. So that's it, guys. That's a short and quick. It's well, it wasn't that short really, but it was. That's how I program. That's how I write all my code plugs. This is the way I've been doing it for like a year and a half or so. You know, I've been in a DMR since 2013, so about 7 years. And the first radio I ever had was a Motorola XPR 4350, and a friend here in the North Texas area wrote the code plug for me and gave it to me. And then I went in there and took it apart and looked at it to try to figure out what was going on with it. And that's basically how I just kind of taught myself how to write a code plug, because I didn't know how to write a code plug at that point in time. So I taught myself how to do it. And over the last 7 years, I've kind of developed a process to doing it. And again, my way is not the only way. That's the way that works best for me. I like it because if someone makes changes to one repeater, adds a talk group, takes away a talk group, changes a color code, whatever, and then another repeater. Once you get all of your repeaters loaded in your code plug, and there's like 300 or 400 or 500 or 1,000 channels, it's hard to dig through all of those and, make changes to something. So, in other words, if you've got 1,000 channels in your code plug, and someone makes a change to one channel on one repeater, what you do is you go into the code plug that we were just looking at, you find that zone, you kind of make a note of all the channels in that zone, you delete everything out of your main code plug, and then you open up your template code plug for that zone / repeater, make the changes that are newest changes, and import it back into your main code plug just the way we did tonight. Okay? You don't even have to delete it all out of there. That's how I do it. Yeah, if you just added one, they added this talk group to time slot 1. Okay. So you can add it in the template and then import it. It won't import anything that's not new. So like if you have 6 channels in your template and only 5 channels in your main code plug and do an import, it'll just import that one that's new. So you can do it that way. But I like doing it that way because it's easy. It's easier to keep, because we have a lot of repeaters in Texas. There's probably 15 repeaters just in North Texas. There's probably another 12 to 15 down in Houston area. There's 6 or 8 out in Midland, Odessa, some in Tyler, some in the Panhandle, some down 35. So, I mean, it's hard to keep, there's 85, 90, 95 repeaters in Texas. And instead of paging through a list of, 500 different talk groups and channels for 100 different repeaters, it's easier to do it this way. That's the way that I like doing it. So, do we miss any questions, Frank?
No, we pretty much covered all of them. For around DMR stuff. Okay. The last couple of shout-outs I have here is to Ken in Las Vegas, W1KVN. Okay. San Antonio, Texas, we have KI5IIZ. Thank you for joining us. And Paul, new member, and W4CPU in Georgia.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that tonight. That's great. Thank you for joining us,
I like your call
Paul.
sign. That's actually one I was trying to do it for a time when I was trying to figure out my amateur vanity sign. I had a CPU down as the postfix. Oh,
CPU?
Yeah.
That's great.
I haven't applied for it yet.
That's great.
Given that I'm still KG5AHJ.
Right. Yeah, you're still KG5. So anybody who, somebody had mentioned in the chat earlier, I think, I missed it. Anybody who wants my templates is welcome to them. I'd be happy to send you my templates. I've thought about uploading the template to dmrtexas.net and then putting a template per repeater, like the Richland Hills repeater, here's the template. The Grapevine repeater, here's a template. Dallas repeater, here's a template. That kind of thing.
Yeah, there were many questions that were asking when you're going to post your templates.
Okay. I don't have them posted right now, but if you want the templates, send me an email. I'm good on QRZ. It's just kc5hwb@gmail.com. I'd be happy to send you at least send you the talk group template that I have that you can start from. Because if you're not in Texas, you don't want all of the repeater templates I have right now are repeaters in Texas. If you're not in Texas, you probably don't care about that. But you can start with the talk group template and go from there. And you could even start. I'll send you my my hotspot template as well. I'll send you the talk group and the hotspot template if you're outside of Texas. If you're inside of Texas, might be a lot of templates to send you, but tell me which repeaters you want. So let me go over here real quick. I want to thank my patrons. This is a list of the patrons who are at the $8.25 per month or higher level. I want to thank Mike Adams, Todd Agostini, probably said that wrong, Bill K., Robert Lyons, Marcus West, Eric Cooper, Felix Quadrado. Gosh, I can't say that. Danny Harbor, Craig Boyer, Dennis G., Richard Donald, Mike Inferato, KD9OOF, Oof Radio. Thank you for being a patron. Richard Swartz, Paul Day Maroney, Lewis Klein, Robert Bresman, Hawk Bennett, James Dowis, Paul Sweeney, LNX Guy, Bill Brady, David Kettrick, and Mike in Texas. You guys are some that make this channel possible and help it grow, and thank you very much for that. Something I started just this month, well, last month now. Today's August. So something I started in July was I have the merch shop now at shop.hamradio2.com, which Frank mentioned earlier. Patrons of the $8.25 a month or higher get a 15% discount. And when we get to the 6-month mark of that website being out, that percentage discount is going to go up, probably to like 30% or something like that. So you can save discounts on all merch at the shop.hamradio2.com. You get access to the monthly newsletter, which I didn't send last month because I've been sending emails pretty regularly, but I'm kind of revamping the way that the newsletter is done because I include more information in the newsletter than I do in just regular emails. Are just like, hey, look at the videos I put up last week. The newsletter is a little bit more detailed information than that. But all patrons and all YouTube members, regardless of level in the YouTube membership or in the patronage, get early access to all videos. I've got my next 2 weeks worth of videos already posted on YouTube. They're not available to the public yet. They're available to patrons and YouTube members only. So if you're a member or a patron, you can go out and watch those right now. The next episode of the YouTubers Bunch will post tomorrow. It's been up for about a week. I've got a video upcoming about another R-Finder video. I've got another video upcoming about... I can't even remember now.
Don't
Gosh,
look at me.
I've done so many videos. I can't even remember what they are right now. Anyway, I've got the next 2 weeks of videos already posted and available for patrons and YouTube members. And those of you who choose to support me financially in the show get a little bit kind of like a special look into the videos before they go public. So those are just a few perks that they do. 73, everyone. We are going to shut it down. We'll be going about 2 hours. I could do this all night. I love doing this. I love YouTube streaming. I want another beer. If I had another beer, I would probably keep going for another hour. But I got to get up and walk around the table and go over there to get it. So,
do you have another Patreon-like channel?
Oh, Subscribestar.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't done...
I lost that link.
So... Subscribestar, where is that? There we go. Subscribestar. I don't like to get. I don't want to get political. I don't like to get political on the channel. There it is, right there. It's not a channel about politics. I don't. I have my own opinion. You have your own opinion. And you're welcome to your own opinion, especially if you're in the USA. I agree. Everybody has the right to their own opinion. But some people have told me, and I've seen some evidence kind of here and there, that Patreon squelches conservative channels. This is not a conservative channel. This is a channel about ham radio. So we don't do conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republic. We don't do that kind of stuff here.
We're here to talk about
We're
amateur radio.
We're here to talk about ham radio. That's what we're here to talk about. But some guys have issues with Patreon for reasons that I have never had any issues with Patreon. Patreon is great. But I was asked by a couple of people to start a Subscribestar account. So there you go. Subscribestar.com/ham-radio-2.0. 2-0. There's a dash in
Go
there.
ahead and just copy and paste that. I do not have that in my notes. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. I'll put that in here. And there's... Oh, there you are right there. I texted it to you. So there's Subscribestar out there, too, if you should so choose. But, yeah, Patreon's been around a long time. I have really good luck with Patreon, and I've never had any problems with them, so I'm going to continue to use them because they are very supportive of the creator community. So 73 guys, really appreciate everyone being here tonight. I think we topped like 101 viewers at one point.
Oh, right.
Which for my channel is a really good good number. Really appreciate you guys being here. Those of you who are patrons and are YouTube members, send me your ideas for what you might want to see on the next live stream. I've got a couple of things upcoming, but I've got places that have not been filled yet. So tell me what you want to see. And I want to make videos about subjects that you, the audience, want to see. So I get a lot of different requests for DMR stuff on my channel, and I love DMR. I love making DMR videos. But if there's other stuff in ham radio besides DMR, obviously. Flex radio being one of them. So
Installing an HF station at Frank's house.
We're going to do that. I don't think that'll be a live stream, but we're going to do that. We're going to do that as a video.
You said ideas. I'm throwing some out there here.
So my idea is for you to go buy a freaking HF radio.
Putting up your antenna.
Putting up my antenna.
Sack.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually halfway through a video on that.
All right.
One antenna. My tower and hex beam will be another video.
Bill
So
Brady,
that's
now go
upcoming.
have a cigar. It's nice outside, and I agree.
Yeah, Bill's a good dude. He's right over there in Dallas. So
That's a good note to end it on.
Thanks for being here, Bill. So 73 guys, everyone have a good evening. Stay safe out there. We'll catch y'all on the Monday Night Ham Radio tomorrow night, starting at about 5 p.m. Got a really great lineup for you tomorrow night. The next episode of the YouTubers Bunch, a video from Temporarily Offline, a live stream from Temporarily Offline at 7. I think the Smokin' Ape and one other, I can't remember who else it is right now. Maybe K6ARK has a video in the middle. So we got a Monday night ham radio thing that starts around 5 or 5:30 every Monday. It's like 4 hours of ham radio videos. It's an awesome, awesome thing that we started doing. So you guys get your fill of ham radio on YouTube. 73, everyone. Y'all have a good week. And we'll see you 2 weeks from tonight on the next live stream.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot.